device than ever before. That is why it was crucial that we create a user-friendly experience for both desktop and mobile users. To achieve this, we now use large buttons on all of our pages, making finding information, forms, and other links easier as well. Additionally, all pages on the site are responsive and viewable on mobile devices. The new St. Charles Parish website was redesigned with our residents in mind. Come and experience stcharlesparish.gov today.
For decades, our history attracted millions of visitors to our region. We're ready to welcome millions more. It's time we represent ourselves with a name that reflects the unique experiences visitors enjoy out here in the river parishes of Louisiana. Taste the culinary battle of Creole versus Cajun in every bite.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Charles Parish Legislative Committee meeting on Tuesday, July 5th, 2022 at 5 p.m. Council Chambers in the Parish Courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices. Remove all hats, please. This meeting is called to order with a silent prayer and a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Matters before the committee. Item number 2022-0193, discussion of redistricting. Mr. Josh Manning.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be back. Good to see everyone again. I hope everyone had a good 4th of July weekend. We have a few plans to introduce to you guys tonight. I don't necessarily expect anyone to take any action this evening. However, if you want to take action, that's your prerogative. But really, the main goal of this is to introduce the plans officially to you and to the public as well. And then anything that you guys want to do after that, it's up to you. I do have a presentation, so I will just briefly go through the presentation, just to remind everyone what we're doing, and if anyone from the public is here, they can get caught up as well. So we are doing the 2020 redistricting. Let me see. All right, there we go. So redistricting is basically, it's the redrawing of state legislative districts. That includes all U.S., state, and local election district boundaries here at the council level. This is a process that we go through every 10 years after the results of the census are made public to the states. We do this for a variety of reasons. The main reason being that people move. You know, we have people that are born in the last decade, people that die in the last decade, and of course people move in and out of the area based off of social, economic, and environmental reasons. The other reason we do it is because the law says so. The U.S. Constitution in Article 1, Section 2 discusses congressional redistricting. The 14th Amendment, or what's known as the Equal Protection Clause, discusses what that looks like on the state level. And of course, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is, as far as federal legislation goes, is the piece of legislation that most closely controls redistricting at this time. And it discusses, it prohibits plans that intentionally or inadvertently discriminate on the issue of race. We also have several Louisiana laws. I'm not going to go over all of these laws, but the main one that we want to look that applies to this process is Louisiana Revised Statutes 33, 1411, which discusses parochial government, which includes parish councils, police jury districts, etc. So whenever we go into redistricting, we go into it with a certain, with a few goals. We try to accomplish those goals. We don't always hit all of our goals, but we do go into it with some ideas in mind of things that we want to accomplish. First thing is we want to make sure we comply with all state and federal law. We will do that regardless of any of the other goals being met. The second thing we want to do is make sure that we have districts that are compact, meaning that we try to have the minimum distance between all the different parts of the constituency. All of our districts must be contiguous, meaning they have to touch at some point. And then we also do our best to preserve communities of interest. These would be geographic areas such as neighborhoods or certain areas where the residents may have a common political or cultural interest. And then we also do our best to preserve the core of the prior districts, meaning that we don't necessarily just come in and start from scratch. There are some cases, and there's always at least one alignment where I do that, but we always have at least another alignment where we kind of start with the base and make the changes from there. And then, of course, we do our best to avoid pairing incumbents from having to run against each other in the next election. The timeline for redistricting, April 1st, 2020 was Census Day. That's when all the citizens here in St. Charles Parish got the census card, started filling out the census. Normally, that census data is released 1 year after that census is taken. So that would have been April 2021. However, due to COVID, all the census operations were delayed. We did not get that census data until August 12th of 2021. I'm sure you guys know or are completely aware of what else was going on in August of 2021. Ida was hitting right around that same time. So we're kind of, for the council, not so much delayed, but it's kind of slowed the process down of where we would normally like to be in redistricting during this cycle. And of course, our school boards, they need to be done by March 1st of 2022, earlier this year. So we've been focusing on getting all of those school board plans done because of the condensed deadline for that. For the councils, we have until really August of 2023. That's when qualification is for your next election. We definitely want to be done well before then, but that is that deadline that we have looming in the distance that we want to make sure we've got to have everything done in advance of August 2023. All right. I'll go over just some of the baseline data. We did go over this a few months ago, if you recall. Kevin and I had came before you guys to discuss some of these figures. But the main takeaway that you guys need to know from the current data, meaning we take the 2020 data and we put it on top of the existing districts, is that districts 1, 2, and 4 need to pick up some population. Districts 3 and 7, those are the districts where you've had a little bit of growth in the last 10 years. They need to lose a little bit of population. Now, just because District 5 and District 6, those two districts are currently within the range of deviations. If you look at the slide that's on the screen right now, we look at that fourth column. We want all of our districts to be plus or minus a 5% deviation. However, just because those districts don't need to change doesn't mean that they necessarily won't change, because they might be responding or shifting as the other districts that are adjacent to them need to change as well. We do have an ideal population of 7,507. So that's the goal that we're trying to reach with each district. Your existing current range is 30.3, and the way we get that is we take the highest deviation from District 7 and the lowest deviation from District 4. We add the absolute values of those two numbers together, and that gives us that 30.3 number. So we want that 30.3 number to be 10% or less. Once we've achieved that, we know that we have about equal districts across the board. We also do have District 1, which has historically been what's called a majority-minority district, which means that is a district that's made up of greater than 50% of a non-white race. In this case, it's black, is 52%. So we want to make sure that when we come out of redistricting, that we have at least one district that maintains that majority-minority status. Now, we do also have District 5. I believe it was brought up at one of the last meetings that District 5 was a majority-minority district. Well, it is not a majority-minority district per definition. However, it is a district in which you have a plurality of minorities. We don't have one minority group that makes up a whole in that district, but we do have the non-white population being greater than the white population. So that's something that as we go through the redistricting process that we want to keep an eye on to make sure that in that district as well, we're making sure that we're not diluting minority vote in that district. All right, this next slide just shows the areas of growth and decrease in the last 10 years. The areas in red are the areas where we've had population decline by voting precinct since 2010. The areas in blue are those areas where we've had some population increases. And of course, like the brighter the blue or the deeper the red, those are the areas that have had stronger or greater growth. So you can see on this map those areas, those districts we talked about earlier that needed to grow a little bit and the districts that needed to shrink a little bit. You can see where those growth are taking place. This map shows the concentrations of black population. So as we discuss those majority-minority districts and as we're crafting those districts, those are the areas we want to make sure that we're trying to include, if at all feasible, in those districts without, doing too much gerrymandering or that kind of thing. All right, alternative one. And again, to reiterate, with all these plans, the two main goals: balance the population, maintain a minimum of one majority-minority districts. And I also, whenever I go into these plans, I do try to look at areas where there might be neighborhoods that are broken up. As I said, with communities of interest, when I'm able to put those neighborhoods back together again, I like to do such. And I also try to minimize the number of precinct splits when I can. Because when we start splitting precincts, that's work on the Register of Voters and the Clerk of Court and on that election side that I try to avoid if possible. Can't always avoid it, but I do try to avoid that. So alternative one, I'll briefly go over each district. If there are any questions after the presentation, please feel free to, if you want to look at specifics for any one individual district, we can certainly do so. District 1 basically is picking up population along Paul Mallard Road, while its footprint on the East Bank lessens a little bit. District 2 shifts north to where it's entirely north of Highway 90, and it begins to pick up parts of what is currently District 7, as well as it increases its footprint on the East Bank. District 4 picks up population in Booty, moving into areas currently currently included in District 7. And then District 7 contracts and it shifts to where it's all now in this alignment is south of US 90. On the East Bank, as mentioned earlier, District 1's footprint has shrunk while District 2's footprint has grown, and it picks up some neighborhoods that are currently in District 1 and in District 5. And then District 6 and in District 3, District 6 picks up a few streets that are currently in District 3. The numbers for that, you can see all of our districts are well under 5% deviation, in fact, our total range. And believe it or not, all three alternatives, our overall range is 7.1 across all three plans, which I very rarely have I had that happen. So range, just know that your population total range is going to be the same in each plan. This plan has 6 precinct splits, and when we run it through our algorithms to determine compactness of the three alternatives, this plan has a medium compactness. Then, of course, we have the strongest of the three alternatives. This one has the strongest majority-minority population, black population in District 1 at 59.3%. Right. Alternative 2, which Alternative 2 actually is probably the plan with the least amount of changes of the three alignments. On the West Bank, District 1 increases its footprint on the East Bank a little bit, it takes on some population along Paul Mallard, but not to the same extent. It doesn't go as far north as in Alternative 1. District 2 loses just a few streets in the back of Mimosa Park to District 7, and it cleans up an old precinct line that was cutting through the neighborhood along an old pipeline, I believe. And it makes up for this by picking up just a little bit more population on the East Bank, certainly less than what it picks up under Alternative 1. And then District 4 picks up some of the same areas that it was picking up under the first alignment, some of those areas in District 7. On the East Bank, there's just some minimal shifting of the streets between Districts 3 and 6, between Districts 1 and 2, and then again between Districts 2 and 5. Again, that's all just to make, as we said, District 3 needs to lose a little bit of population. And then, of course, District 1 needs to gain a little population. So there's just some minimal shifting among the districts to make that happen. Alternative 2, again, we have an overall range of 7.1%. We do maintain a majority-minority district in District 1, though not as strong as a percentage of black population in District 1 at 50.2%. However, it does still meet the legal definition of majority-minority. This plan only has 4 precinct splits, and it is considered the least compact. So it is the one that has the least amount of changes, but it's also the plan that has the lowest minority population in District 1 and is also the least compact of the 3 plans. Alternative 3, this alignment actually is the most compact and has the fewest split precinct. Whereas with the other 2 plans, the methodology that I took to build those is I started with the existing plans. I took in all of the input I had from the different conversations we've had. Then I began to try to affect those changes. This plan, I did a little bit different. I kind of cleaned the slate, and then just using where I know the general district boundaries are, I just selected whole precincts, got to the populations I needed, and then in the areas where I couldn't make the population I needed, that's where I split precincts. So we end up only having 2 precinct splits in this plan, and it also is considered the most compact of the plans. In this alignment, District 1 no longer crosses the Mississippi River. It is completely on the West Bank. District 7, again, is solely on the south of Highway 90, shifting east to take in the Willowdale area as well as it does in Alternative 1. District 2 would be all north of Highway 90 as an Alternative 1, but it also expands its footprint on the East Bank, and it takes in areas all the way from Destrehan to St. Rose. So it takes in a much larger area in this alignment. And then Districts 3 and District 6 continue to shift some streets the same as in the other 3 alignments. Here's the data for that. So you can see, again, we have a 7.1% range. We only have 2 precinct splits, and as mentioned, it is the most compact plan of the 3. In District 1, we have a black population of 53.6, so it's not as high as in Alternative 1, but it certainly isn't as low as in Alternative 2 either. And then another thing that I want to call out with all of these plans is District 5, again, while not being a fully majority minority district, each of these alignments does increase the voting strength of minorities in the way that the district is changed. There's a stronger, there's less white population or a greater percentage of non-white population in all three of those alignments. And other than that, that's the presentation. I will do my best to answer any questions that you guys may have on that.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Appreciate that. Item number 2022-0193 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Council discussion? Ms. Fonseca?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Josh, the word compact here, can you explain what that means?
Sure. The software that we have, it runs it has several algorithms. There's actually 11 different measures of compactness. And these are equations that geographers have come up with to kind of measure the relative compactness of each data. Now, I can't sit here and say I'm familiar with all of the math, but I can tell you what we did was we ran each of the districts through our software. And when it's talking about referring to compactness, again, you can't necessarily take one of these plans and compare it to a different parish, right, and say, you know, oh, these districts are more compact than that one. But what we try to do is compare the districts to each other, or the alignments to each other. That way we can say this one alternative has the least number of districts that might go, you know, multiple different ways. So one of the measurements is it actually looks at the polygon and it measures the perimeter of the polygon. And so that's one measurement that it might be X amount of miles. And so obviously if your perimeter is a much larger perimeter, but you have the same population, well then it would be a least compact than the other one. That's only one of the different measures of compactness. Other ones might look at the distance between the furthest point and the center of the district. Now some districts are going to be more compact than others because you have a more urban population. So District 4, and being covering that more rural part of the parish, is always going to be a less compact district. So that's why you don't necessarily want to compare districts to districts, but comparing the overall plan, we can figure out which plan is compact. And that's not necessarily meaning that has to be the deciding factor, but I like to provide that to you guys so that you can include it in your decision-making process.
Okay, I understand the use of the word now. I gotta be honest, I was trying to take notes and keep up with
Sure.
you and where districts were moving, and I couldn't keep up.
Okay.
So,
I understand.
we can do that offline, or if I'm the only one,
No, it'd be helpful.
it was
Okay.
really fast.
That's
Can we go
understandable.
back to alternative one and just, talk about how the moves are being made?
Does this computer have internet access? Can I pull up, because we do have this stuff on a website. Oh, look at this.
For the link,
Yes,
the link is on that.
I see that. I just opened it up, yeah. That's great. So we can, I can go to,
Perfect, just a little slower, please.
yes. Let me go to the map. And so we have this link available on our website. You can certainly put it on your website as well, here at the parish. The way that these maps work, and I'm looking at alternative one right now, on the left-hand side of the screen is the baseline or the existing plan. On the right-hand side is alternative one. So we can literally, scroll back and forth and see where those changes are. So I'll come all the way to where we're only looking at the baseline right now. Yeah, so I'll zoom in to kind of the more developed part of the parish. So looking first at District 1, I'll slide it to where you can see that, and the changes are gonna be along Paul Mallard Road and on the West Bank. So for District 1, this dotted line is the precinct line. So it's backing up off of these neighborhoods in District 1, and those neighborhoods, or those streets are, as we zoom in, I can see the streets. Yeah, so you can see it would only be really having, this district only have 3 or 4 streets under this alignment on the East Bank, that being one side of Destrehan Drive, River Oaks Drive, and Longview, the other side of Longview Drive. The rest of this area would be going into District 2. Now I'll slide back. This is the existing alignment. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. And then, of course, on the West Bank side, it's picking up this eastern side of, I'm sorry, the western side of Paul Mallard Road. So it picks up Paul Frederick Street, Kindler Street, Gaston Street, Jones Street, Alley Lane, which is very similar to the school board District 1 alignment. It doesn't match. There's a differing number of school board district, but it's a very similar alignment. All right. So I'll go all the way out. So District 2, under this alignment, changes pretty dramatically. So this precinct 2-5 is going to be leaving District 2, going into District 7. It's going to be picking up the, I can never remember the name of this subdivision. Ashton or Ashland? Ashton. Ashton. It will be picking up Ashton, which is currently in District 7. Yep. Yep. And it will pick up areas on the West Bank. So right now, it does not have all of Precinct 2-6, but it would pick up all of Precinct 2-6. All right. District 4. So District 4 is basically picking up this area near Schmiel Street and this this neighborhood around the Zachary Drive area. And again, keep in mind, District 4 has to pick up population, and there's just only so many areas where that can take place because of where it's constrained geographically. All right. I will now jump across the river, and we can see the changes from Districts 5 and, Districts 3 and 6. And it's cleaning up some of these precinct lines here. The way you see the alignment now, that used to be the old precinct line. It cut through a neighborhood. That precinct line has been cleaned up. So that's just cleaning up those streets as well. And then it straightens up. It basically flips this to where this Ormond Village Drive used to kind of jump as the boundary. Now Ormond Village Drive. Yeah, that's the school right here.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
the ones on the other one side of the street.
That's correct. That's correct. Yep, so we're cleaning that up. All right.
Y'all gonna get a good school?
I think that's all of the differences. You'll see there's a difference here in the map, but it's just, there's no population here. It's just cleaning up some geography, some boundary lines. But that doesn't affect any voting population on that side of the river, on that side of the highway. All right, I'll go to alternative 2. Any questions on alternative 1? Did I miss anything? Okay.
Did you say there are 6 splits on alternative 1?
Yes.
That's a lot, isn't it?
That's relative. Of the 3 alignments, it is the one with the most. Yeah.
Right, but is that,
There have been some plans in some parishes where I've had like 20 precinct splits. So, as I said, it's just relative to your parish. It is more than I normally like to have, but it is what it is, you know.
Okay, well, that puts things in perspective.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, when we're talking about precinct splits, whenever we split a precinct, we're physically going to have to create a new precinct, right? That means you need to identify a polling location. That means the clerk of court's going to have to recruit election commissioners. The state's going to have to allocate voting machines. And if that precinct's less than 300 voters, there's potentially an additional cost to the parish. There's another process. Once we finish adopting your plan, though, what we do as your demographers for this, we come back through and we work with the registrar and we work with the clerk of court to identify, all right, now where can we merge precincts, so that hopefully we try to get back to, if not the same number of precincts you have now, closer. You know, we try to start eliminating those precinct splits. So we don't just leave you with the 6 new precincts. We try to clean that up whenever we can. But there is a potential for that. Oh.
What did you say?
Whole decision.
Just, I mean, what kind of impact would that have on, he's our registrar of elections.
Yes, yeah.
You know the confusion.
Would normally be looking to add population into District 7, but that cleans that line up. And District 4 is picking up those same areas from District 7 as it did in the previous alignment. And District 4 is the same in every alignment, again, just because there's not a whole lot of options for it. District 2 does, because we're losing some population in the, that Lakewood area, it again needs to pick up a little bit of population on the east side of the river. Mm-hmm. And then it's really those same changes between between Districts 6 and District 3. It's really just those same changes. I think those are the same changes in every alignment. Yeah. Yep, District 1. All right, any questions on alternative 2? All right, I will go to alternative 3. And again, I will start in District 1. So here is the existing alignment. And now alternative 3 is the one that I built, again, from the precincts. Again, using my knowledge of where the general areas of the districts were, but not being so bound to those to where I was able just to start from the precincts. So it's going to be a little bit more drastic of a changes than the other two. So District 1 is entirely on the West Bank. It no longer goes into these neighborhoods over here, but it does take in all of the eastern side of Paul Mallard, including the Ashton subdivision. Yeah, I'm sorry, western side. District 7, again, is entirely on the south side of Highway 90. District 2 being entirely on the north side of Highway 90. District 4, again, taking in those same neighborhoods that it does in the other alignments.
He's going too fast again.
Under this alignment, because Ashton is going into District 1.
Josh, can you back up a little
Yep,
bit?
absolutely.
You sped up.
I'm sorry.
I'd say 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So District 2. is entirely, District 2-5 has, again, under this alignment, gone into District 7. So that whole south side of Highway 90 is in District 7. The entire north side would be in District 2 as it currently is, but it's going to be picking up some of these neighborhoods that are currently in District 7. Basically some of these areas in Precinct 2-2, I think it kind of cuts through here. Yeah, so it's not a very populated area, but it does, some of the businesses and whatnot are there. Mhm. Yeah, that's why 2 has to pick up so much on the east bank under this alignment.
Pass aside and put expansion on East Bank.
Yep, but it does pick up all the way from Ormond Boulevard, basically. It goes from Ormond all the way to just past Ponderosa Lane, Ponderosa Road. And then districts
I don't want to lose it.
3 and 6. Yeah, so District 3 is going to be losing more population under this alignment than it does on the other ones. So,
Not a done deal.
no.
But these are our options.
So now, under all of these alignments, there's room for tweaking. So once you get to the point where you say, hey, let's put alternative 2 on the table, and let's maybe go through another round of revisions, we can certainly do that. Or if you say we hate all of them, bring us something else, I can do my best to do that, but I'll need a little bit of direction on what you want to look at. But normally what we have happen is we see the government we're working for, we'll pick an alignment and say, let's move forward with this alignment, and then we'll go through another round of, hey, can we maybe look at this alignment, but move this line back and forth, and then we can work. And anytime you move that line, there's going to have to be a ramification somewhere else, but there might be an option that's better for you guys, which is certainly something we want to make sure that can happen.
Ms. Fonseca, you got everything?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Fisher?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Josh, just a clarification. This
Yes.
is only based upon census numbers,
That's correct. Yes, sir.
No voter registration?
That's
no-
correct.
Nothing else, so just.
Yep, I'll be
strictly
looking at
census.
total population.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Cormier?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You've answered a lot of my questions through this. So I know we have until August 2023. Hopefully, we don't go that far.
Yeah.
But is there any requirement for how many public hearings we have to have, or how many are normal for the process?
So whenever you get to where you're ready to adopt this, you adopt it the same way you do as an ordinance. So you're going to have at least one public hearing
With
for
the
that.
final, with what we hope is the
Correct.
final drawing?
Anything beyond that, it's at your discretion.
Leading up to that?
That's right.
it's whatever we choose.
That's right.
Okay. So you just mentioned we can somewhat decide if we like 1 or 2 and maybe try to massage that,
Correct.
maybe
Yes.
move a line or 2.
Yes.
How do we do that?
Okay.
Do we do that individually with you? Do we tell you individually as a district what we feel?
So
and then
it's up to your discretion. We can either do it like you select a plan, that we can either schedule meetings to where we can either come here and meet with you individually. I'll bring the laptop, we can do that. We can meet via like a Zoom meeting if you want to do it that way as well, to where you can see my computer screen. Or if you want to do it in public, some councils like to do it where we come in a public meeting and I hook my laptop up and we run it all there. Sometimes gets a little wonky to do it in public, but that's what some councils like to do.
Well, let's back up even further. You said first you select an alignment. Or
Correct.
select an alternate.
Yeah.
Without us putting it on the agenda and voting on it,
That's
we really
correct.
can't do that.
That's
So I
correct.
think, I guess we'll have to individually let you know our thoughts, maybe, Does that feel like how we should take this, guys?
what I thought.
Each district pick which one or two, and then talk about the things we like and don't like? Uh-huh,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's perfectly fine.
okay. Okay. That's much more user-friendly than those giant
Yes.
maps we had, so I'm glad to know we have this
Technology
new map.
has come a long way and really improves the
Yeah,
process.
and I think if I'd have had this before this meeting, I'd have been even more prepared, but this will be a good tool moving forward for all of us, I think.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, one more thing. So I know you gave us examples of what compactness would mean. In a nutshell, I think maybe people per square mile is one of the measurements, and
Okay.
I kind of will use that in my own brain, but which is most beneficial? Least compactness, more compactness?
So traditionally, you want to have more compactness.
Want
That's
more
the,
compactness.
that's kind of the, you know, if you were to go through this and if there were to be a lawsuit, right? And you never know, one of the things you want to do when you go redistricting is make sure you try to not be sued.
Not talking about that.
Now, everything I'm about to preface is, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice. And honestly, within the last few years, Supreme Court has ruled completely different than I would have expected based off of the precedents that I've seen in the past. So you could throw a lot of that stuff out the window. But normally, you want to try to maintain compact districts because it's justifiable. Hey, we're doing our best to create as compact districts as possible and to try to have equitable population. Whenever you have a district that runs all over the place, that's a little bit less justifiable.
Sure.
You know, then people start saying you're doing it based on political reasons and whatnot. And sometimes courts don't look favorably upon those.
Understood. And then lastly, you gave us sort of a narrative and some notable changes with each alternative when you explained it to us. I know we do have this map now, but would it also be possible for you to send us basically what your bullets were for
Sure.
each one?
I
So we
can
know what's
certainly do
notable
that.
in each one in writing, because it is your language, but it's not ours.
Yes.
So to have it in writing would be
Yes,
helpful.
I can certainly do that.
Okay, thanks. That's it for me.
Any other council discussion? Seeing none, I need a motion and second to adjourn. Got a motion from Ms. Fonseca, second by Ms. Billings. Please cast your votes. Thank you.
Can you say it verbally, Jay?
You want to,
I'm in favor. How do I get out of this?
and that passes unanimously. We are adjourned. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
So I think it's pretty good that they all chip in and, give back to the kids and give them something to be able to look forward to.
That's awesome. I mean, they're big. They're a big part of the for the region, and then to invest back into the communities, it's huge.
It's a gift that has made it possible for more than 800 local kids to take part, like Cruz Gonzalez.
It's really fun, actually. My favorite part, playing down low. It's a really fun spot, to be honest.
Cruz is just one of the parish's youth basketballers. He's been participating in the program for a while.
I have played 6 years, actually.
So it's really cool to see him progress over the years, and he's definitely been improving.
Chelsea Lee has also been a part of this program for years.
It's energetic, and I get to play one of my favorite sports a lot.
Brown says giving kids basic skills and fostering an appreciation for competition and sportsmanship is a big part of the youth basketball program's success.
Good job. We get kids from five years old that's in our program, and we get a chance to watch them mature from 5, 6, not being able to dribble. 7-year-olds learning a little more of the game, where the game gets a little more intense. 8-year-olds where it's a little more aggressive. And when they get 9, 10, 11, 12, you can really see the basic stuff. If you give it to the kids at a younger age, that they can get it, they'll learn how to jump stop, how to be in triple threat, the essence of basketball.
For the kids, it's all about spending time with friends and just having fun.
Family, friends, that's pretty much it. I get encouraged.
It's very fun to have to play because we laugh a lot during the games, and and at